Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Wednesday, September 20th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Over the years, when news broke that Amazon was entering a new arena, its stock price would jump, and shares of rivals in that area would sharply fall. It's called the Amazon effect. But the company's efforts to create another wildly successful business, something it internally refers to as the fourth pillar, has been elusive for years. Its first three pillars are its online marketplace, its Amazon Prime membership program, and its cloud computing unit, Amazon Web Services. With us to talk about why Amazon's search keeps coming up short, and if it could change, is our Amazon reporter, Sebastian Herrera. So Sebastian, let's talk about some of the big attempts Amazon has made to develop this fourth pillar. I want to start with grocery, because Whole Foods is a brand a lot of people will know, and it became part of Amazon's bigger effort to crack grocery and brick-and-mortar stores. So talk us through what happened there.
When it comes to Whole Foods, if you remember when they bought it in 2017, everyone in the business world thought that they were going to transform the grocery business. And that just hasn't happened. What really did happen was Amazon had to learn how that business even operates. And at the same time, it also had competing businesses that it formed with Amazon Fresh and those grocery outlets. So in reality, it moved much slower in terms of changes than people expected at the time. And it's obviously put some changes in, like Amazon Prime memberships at Whole Foods. But it's really at a time just figuring out what sort of model it wants to make work.
Another area they've tried to develop is hardware. Amazon actually has its fall hardware event today. But despite, some success with devices, it's not completely taken over there.
They made a huge splash with the Echo devices and Alexa when they first came out in 2014. And obviously, they had a huge consumer base when they started that and a lot of buzz. But in a lot of critics' eyes, they failed to develop the AI with Alexa and have really fallen behind in that space. Amazon and Jeff Bezos, they really wanted to be like Apple in hardware. But in reality, their strategy has, again, been more about throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. And frankly, a lot of stuff just hasn't stuck after Alexa.
An area of Amazon that I find particularly fascinating is healthcare, because obviously people's health is so important to them, and also it's one of those areas where we can really see our data being collected by a big tech company. Can you tell us about Amazon's efforts to get into healthcare and make that its fourth pillar? Because it's made some big purchases here.
Yeah, and that is one of the areas that Andy Jassy, the CEO, lists as a potential fourth pillar. He sees how much potential there is in the healthcare space because it is such a humongous industry in the US. The story there is that Amazon tried to do healthcare itself at first, and it just figured out that it's really hard to build that sort of business on its own. And so what it's done now is that it has acquired some companies to try to build a space there. A few years ago, it bought PillPack. Last year, it bought a company that runs the One Medical primary care services. They do have some positives working for them in this space. Like, for example, one of Amazon's core strengths is their logistics business. That could make its way into the healthcare space in terms of just how they leverage that with delivering pharmaceutical drugs.
Speaking of logistics, has the e-commerce giant tried to turn that into a major business line?
Well, it definitely has an edge there. It arguably has one of the best logistics businesses in the US. And it feels like it still has room to grow. I mean, Amazon has been working to speed up its deliveries to less than a day. And it's something that doesn't do widely today that it could in the future is deliver packages for businesses that don't sell on its site. So it could become more and more like a UPS and FedEx instead of just delivering for its own packages.
Over the years, we've seen investors really back Amazon when it's attempted to enter a new business. Is that still the case?
Well, they are starting to get more impatient because some of these big bets aren't yielding returns. And with some of these businesses like Whole Foods, like hardware, I mean, this has been like years of investing without clear returns. The reason why there's some impatience there is that if you look at Amazon stock, during the past 2 years compared to their big tech peers. They haven't performed as well. So there's a lot of questions from investors and analysts of, hey, Amazon, you're obviously really successful, but where's this next growth area? And obviously, that's a huge thing to ask for, but Amazon has set itself up with those sort of expectations because it's been so successful. And when you think about things like AI, you would think that Amazon would really be leading in that space. And really the narrative there is that they're falling behind, actually.
So if none of these are its fourth pillar, if investors are raising questions, what is Amazon going to try next?
Amazon obviously argues that they have plenty of businesses that could become fourth pillars. Some of its newer businesses that they're excited about are things like Project Kuiper, the internet satellite business, or its autonomous vehicle business, Zoox. So those are sort of things that, are very unproven at this moment. So they definitely have a lot of things on the table. There are questions if they have too much on the table, that if they're too distracted with so many businesses. But in Amazon's viewpoint, they have a lot of exciting potentials. We're going to have to see just how that develops and if they can find another AWS, another Amazon Prime.
That was our Amazon reporter, Sebastian Herrera. And that's it for Tech News Briefing. Today's show was produced by Julie Chang with supervising producer Melanie Roy. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening.